Good morning. Hello, hello. It's June Olson with Junebug Creations, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you live from Kalispell, Montana. And it's Friday, or we should say Friday. It's paper pumpkin time too. So let's get started because I've got two cards for you today. Using what's in the kit, I did bring in some extra cardstock and I did bring in one other ink color, but I think it's an ink color that we have had in other paper pumpkins. So if you don't have the large ink pad, you should probably still have it in your ink spot collection from getting variety of kits as well as this kit. I'm pretty sure Blackberry Bliss has been in past kits, but let's go ahead and jump right in because I've got two cards for you today. So here is our fun box. All you need is a pair of scissors. It's all inclusive. Everything is in the box to make the cards as designed. It's me who brings in some extra stuff, typically maybe some extra cardstock, which I did today and last week, because if you remember, if you were here last week, you saw that I liked both sides of the cards, and so I cut it in half and just used the front to make the card, and I'll show you here in a minute. So here are our fabulous stamps, and here are our instructions, and you can see here we go, that we have our stamps right there. So we have wishing you happiness, you are invited, time to celebrate, we have fireworks. We're going to be using these two today, the fireworks and stars, and then we have this fun bush as well. We also have the Ink Spot Misty Moonlight, but I like to bring in my regular size stamp pad and use those as giveaways. And need that. Here is the block. You get a block in your very first kit, and then after that you just keep reusing this for your stamps, or if you get other kits, you can also glue them together to create a thicker block. All right, glue them together, and that way it's easier to grip, and it is very close to our ergonomic blocks, except it won't have that dip in here that your fingers rest in, but it's still nicer to use, easier to use than just the skinny block. That's a personal preference for me. Our no-fail instructions show you how to build your 9 cards, 3 each of 3 designs. And we did that last week. So let's go ahead and show you. We have our adhesives here. I guess I'll take those out. And then we have our 3 cards. So this was the first card. And let me just show you the backs of these. They're the full card. Here we go. There's this one. There's this one. And there's this one, and then you'll understand, if you were not here last week, you'll understand here is this card base, but instead of just folding it and using it that way, what I did is I cut off this front and I adhered it to just some white cardstock, some basic white thick cardstock. And so here is our card. I love the lanterns. The window, I didn't care for it so much with this, but I'll be showing you next week an idea, or today, today, one idea for the window. All right, and then we have that, and then these fabulous envelopes. We'll be using one of them kind of like DSP today. I'm kind of using up at least 2 of the card fronts that I cut off last week. So here was the other one. This was the card front. And it was just too nice to not cut up. So I again put it onto a card base, a white card base. I just glued it across the whole front so that it still looks like the card as they designed it, but then I just have the white back. All right, and then here is the fabulous envelope that goes with it. And then we had this one. Now this one was interesting because this one did not have the exact same front and back like the other 2. I did not come up with something for this one. I just came up with the first 2. So we will do those, but this is the card again glued to a white card base. And here is that. So we will keep moving on. So I have 2 here already planned for us. I think I have everything out of here that I need. We're going to start with this one. So this is the card we're going to make, just quick and easy like that. So I've already got this Blackberry Bliss cardstock scored. I have it scored at 4 1/4 and 1 1/2. So we're going to fold it in like this. And then we're going to fold this back like that. Now, we folded them back before to make a Z fold, but this one is not quite. It is a type of Z fold, but instead of folding it in half, I just folded it a little way so that we would have the 3 panels across here. So then what we are going to do is we're going to have to cut this. Let me grab my trimmer. We're going to cut this. And I wanted it pretty much the same. I didn't want to have a space here. So I cut this, or I scored this at 1 1/2. So this will be 1 1/2. This will be 1 1/2. And this is going to be just a little bit less than that. It'll be 1 1/4. So we're going to cut here. This is your 1 1/2 mark over here. So we're going to cut right there. And keep it in order. All right, so I'm putting this one here, and then 1 1/2 again, like that. And that will go right here. And then we have this one left over for over there. All right, so now we're going to adhere these. I'm going to go ahead, instead of using the tear and tape, I'm going to go ahead and use my green glue because I feel like it's just a little bit quicker. Let's get that needle to go in there. I've got a little bit of glue on the outside. Oh, looks like it might be coming up. I might not need the needle. All right, looks like it's already coming out. Let's do this. So we know we want it this way. We're going to glue this. So it's Friday. What plans do you have for the weekend? I have a team gathering tomorrow at noon. And before that, I have my dream team accountability group. We've had one of us who has been ill, so we haven't met very much. So I'm really excited to meet up. That did not slide over very well. Here we go. All right. There we go. And did I get it all on? Yep, I got it all on. I got glue on my finger and it's not wanting to rub off. Good morning, Sharon. Great to see you on here. Have you opened up this kit yet, Sharon? So then we're going to do this one on here. And I probably should have cut it just under, but that's okay. It's still going to work. It's like spot on, and depending on how you fold it, it could have been not quite the right size. So we're going to glue that one over here. I want to make sure that my edge on this side is all lined up. I'm not worried about if it were to hang over a little. I'm not worried about that because that's okay, like that. There we go. And then we'll have this one over here. So, have you cracked this one open yet, Sharon? And of course, you are our card-based cut apart person. You have done that even more than I have to make sure that you get the most out of your cards. I love that. Absolutely love that. You are the one that has encouraged me the most, actually, to do that. Not yet been playing with silly old bear. Oh yeah, that's totally you. Oh, did I get that too far over? No. Somehow there's a break there. All right, well, there's a break there. I didn't have the break there. I don't know what I did differently, but somehow, I don't know which side I didn't put on quite correct. Oh, it looks like it might be the middle one. No, it wouldn't. Well, there's a little bit of a break there. We won't worry about it because it's going to kind of get not cut up. It's going to kind of get hidden. But somehow I have that crack there, and that was not supposed to be there. But I am not going to worry about it or panic. We're going to put this one in here. And this one I did not cut all the way to edge. I wanted to go ahead and have a little bit of the frame or border around it of the Blackberry Bliss. It is probably my favorite color of cardstock, so I did go ahead and leave the frame there, so it does that. And that, oh, I know what I forgot. I forgot to get the punch outs from the kit. All right, last time I used these two little ones. This time I think I'm going to use a big one and this little one because I like the little one on the banner. And then I forgot to grab another banner, so we'll grab this banner like that. Whoop. I threw this in the box and kept this. That's not going to help, is it? So we are going to do this, and we'll use our chipboard. We made such a mess last week. We're going to turn it over. And this one is a little, well, not super tricky, but it's a little tricky in the sense that we're going to have to stamp, clean, and then stamp again. And we're going to be using the Blackberry Bliss. All right, so we're going to put that on there. And we're just going to ink up the Wishing You. Just the Wishing You. And I'm going to stamp it over this way because we're going to trim this off a little bit. All right, like that. And then we need to stamp that off. Clean it as much as possible. And then I treated myself to a new chamois, and I reminded myself stamp off first so it doesn't get quite so dirty. But you can see that even though you do stamp it off a lot, it still gets dirty. All right, there's not a whole lot you can do about it, but it still works. It doesn't have to be perfectly clean. That's the beauty of it. Now we're just going to ink up the happiness side and bring in this and put, ooh, somehow I got a mark there. So perfect place to put my happiness, like there, to hide it. So now nobody knows but you and me, you know, and the rest of the world that watches this. All right, so Sharon says, weekend, nursing home on Saturday, church on Sunday, cutting card bases and layering pieces this morning to make card making more efficient. Yes, yes, efficient is always nice when you are short on time. All right, so I'm going to bring back my trimmer because yesterday I trimmed this off by hand and it was crooked and kept getting shorter and shorter. So I'm just going to place this because I want this right there. I want just a little bit white. There we go. So yesterday, yeah, I kept trimming with my hand, by hand with the scissors, and I kept having to, yeah, I'll put this here. I kept having to cut more and more and more. And I thought, oh, that's not really a good way to do it. All right, here we go. We're going to put this one right here. And then we're going to use this one, grab the wrong card, right here. All right, so I did not use dimensionals on that one, so I won't use dimensionals on this one. And I'm only going to put glue on this side because this will hang over just a little bit. All right, and then we're going to put the Wishing You right there. And I'm going to slide it up under there a little bit. There we go. Like that. And then we have the Wishing You happiness just like that. Just a little fun fold, a little something different instead of the same old, same old. I'm going to show you this one though because it looks better. It doesn't have, I don't know what I did to make that line. Something didn't get glued on the right way. So use this one as your idea, but you can change it out and use this big one. All right, so that is card number 1 for today. And then we have card number 2. And we're going to make a little bit of a mess. So we're going to bring in our old paper pumpkin paper. This used to be the pattern on our paper pumpkin boxes. This was the original logo for Paper Pumpkin. And so this used to be on the front of the Paper Pumpkin box. And we used to get a little card inside. I made a banner with them for when I did the happy birthday party for Paper Pumpkin one year. And so anyways, I had a bunch of different cards shaped like that. I ordered a cake and gave them this, and they did this on the front of the cake, and then just happy birthday. It was fabulous. They did a wonderful job. I was so excited. All right, so we have here this window. We have our, oh, before we do that, let's do this. We have, I brought in some a Night of Navy card base. We have the back side of this one. I think I'm going to do it this way. It almost looks like Northern Lights in a way. And then we have the window, which I already cut the little pieces out of. I'm not going to fold it all the way open though. All right, so we're going to be doing that, but we're not done. That's not it. Let's go ahead and trim this. So you just want to do like 1/8 of an inch. You just want to cover up your cutting channel, I guess some people have called it, and then do it this way. And then here I have to do it down below. All right. And then it opens up and you can use this as your DSP. All right, so I want to use this part. We're going to put it on the inside. I want to use, all right, so we're going to, this one I planned the card, but I did not make a card because I didn't want to run out of those windows, because I have another idea for the windows. Ooh, that was all shredded. This paper this is so much thinner that sometimes it shreds easy. So you want to be very careful with it. All right. Whew. Let's see. Let's go ahead. We're going to trim off just a little bit more. There we go, to help make it clean. There we go. We like it clean. All right. So then I want this at 4 inches and 5 1/4 inches. So we're going to put this on the inside, and we could use this on the envelope as decoration. So we're going to put this on the inside of the card like that, and then you'll be able to write your message on here. It's light enough, but it allows you to see more of that. Whereas the envelopes, what do people do when they open up the envelopes? They tear them, right? They tear them up. So I've started working on ways to use the envelopes in the cards or on the cards so that you can see those gorgeous papers. This is all of a sudden not working. Doesn't take long, it seems, to get a little bit clogged. Oh, I just realized I don't have my glasses on. Wow. Oh yeah, I can see that a little better. It's the finer things that are trickier to see. Yeah, that makes a big difference. I have an eye appointment next week to see if my eyes have changed. I don't think they have, but you know, my birthday's next week. Yeah, it's a possibility. You know, there we go. Isn't that just so pretty? And then you can just still write on it, and it's not so dark, and then you don't have to use all your white cardstock inside, and it makes the card a little less heavy. All right, so now, oh, I know what I forgot. All right, now we're bringing in the Versamark. All right, we're bringing in the Versamark. We're going to bring in our fireworks. We already have stars on there, so we're not going to use those. Or we don't need to use those, I should say. Let's bring in that paper again so that we don't make a huge mess. Because, you know, June just doesn't like, I'm not big on big messes. At least not in this space. Let's put it that way. All right, so we're going to do it. No, we're going to do it this way. And we're going to do some fireworks inside our window. So we have an idea, so we kind of keep it there. It's okay if it comes in from the side. We're just going to do a few of them. And I've got here my embossing buddy. Before I forget, I'm just going to do a quick swipe so that we are not all staticky. All right, that's it. You don't have to pound it. You don't want to see all the powder. And then I've brought in my silver embossing powder. All right, I'm trying to use it up so I can get all the new ones, right? All right, so here we go. We're going to do one here, one here, one here, one here, and one here. So we're doing 5 of them. Pretty sure I got it in the window. We'll find out. We might have to add some more. There we go. All right, here we go. Let's see. Scoop that in. Do that. All right. And then I like to flip it over and kind of flick it. That way it gets off all the extra stuff. All right, looks good. Cover this up so we don't blow it out of the way with our heat gun. Here we go, ready? Here comes the magic. Let our heat gun heat up a minute, and then we will show you the magic. Come on. Magic. There we go. You can see it start to happen. Ooh, it's hot. There we go. There we go. There they go. They go faster and faster as the heat gun gets hot. There we go. And there we go. All right. Look at that. So shiny. All right, we're going to set this aside. Let's see how we did. Did we keep them in the windows? Oh, yay. That is perfect. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to attach this to this card base. All right, to the card front. Oh, it's a little bit wonky. We'll let it cool down. We'll let it cool down. All right, so we have some fun color or fun fireworks. I totally lost the word for a minute there. Oh my gosh. All right. So I think I got my hands a little, there we go. My hands were looking kind of orange. I was watching another demonstrator the other day and her camera colors were so off. Her arms looked like Oompa Loompa arms color-wise, you know, that orangey color. I had a hard time watching. I think I finally ended up just turning it off because it just was hard to watch because she had Oompa Loompa colored arms. And you all know Oompa Loompa is from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I've only ever seen the original one with Gene Kelly. I've never seen the Johnny Depp version. I've heard it's pretty dark. I did read the book and it was darker than the movie, so I prefer the movie in that case. I'm not a super huge and don't hate me for this, Sharon. I don't know if you are. I'm not a super huge Roald Dahl fan. His stuff is just really weird to me. And so I tried to read some of his books. I think I read James and the Giant Peach. I did see the movie. I was like, yeah, okay. I read The Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which was pretty good. I definitely like the movie better because, you know, it's a musical and it's cute. And I couldn't even finish the glass elevator one. It just did not, I couldn't finish it. All right, so we're going to glue this on. So I don't know, Sharon, if you are a Roald Dahl fan. I know a lot of teachers are. I know my son had, which is why we have the books. I had never read the books, not as a teacher, not as a kid, none of those. I did like the BFG, the giant, big friendly giant. I did like that one. I liked the book and I liked the movie. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't know. It just was not my thing. All right. Oop, I wanted to at least take these sides off, but I wasn't going to bend it all the way back because I didn't want it to necessarily be lifted all the way. So we've got those. There we go. I like it. That came out great. You can see it. I'm always looking out my window. 4th of July, if we're not at fireworks, I'm either outside. 4th of July or January, it's kind of cold, so I'm not always outside. Sometimes I watch from the window. All right, so then we need our little windowsill, right? Like that. And we're going to stamp again, wishing you happiness. And I'm going to go ahead and stick with the Blackberry Bliss because that is in the paper and I've already got it inked halfway in that color. So we're going to do wishing you happiness. Like that. I just love this color. Oh my gosh, it's so just, nah, they are weird. Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure if you were one of those teachers that were all about it. You know, give me Dr. Seuss weirdness over Roald Dahl weirdness any day. I love Dr. Seuss. Have tons of those books. I loved reading those books out loud to Kitar because they were just so fun to read with all the nonsense words a lot of times and stuff. I love Dr. Seuss. Give me Dr. Seuss, Eric Carle, Ellen Montgomery, you know, the Anne of Green Gables series, you know, who else? I can't think of all the names now. Let's see, who are some of the other children's authors that I always enjoyed? Can't think of the guy who wrote all the wilderness books. I still have a bunch of them. I kept a bunch for when I have grandkids. But I can't think of his name now off the top of my head. He wrote Wood Song, My Life in Dog Years. I can't think of his name right now. Why can't I think of his name? Yeah, it's Gary Paulson. That's who. Gary Paulson. He's written some really fun books, some outdoor books, some kid books that just have made me laugh my tushy off. To the point where I was reading one time to my students and I had to hand the book to one of the kids to finish reading because I was laughing so hard. I could not finish reading. Tears were streaming down my face. Robert Munsch, yes. That's more for the really younger kids though, right? The Robert Munsch. And I didn't teach a whole lot of the little ones because most of my teaching was in middle school. So that's why Gary Paulson is one of those middle school teachers. Jerry Spinelli was another good one. I don't even know if they're still writing, but I've been reading some of those books that I have in my shelf. You're agreeing with my choices. Nice. Yes, I thought we might have some of the similar aspects. So it looks like I have a little bit of edge, but that works out. All right, so we have wishing you happiness. And then on the inside, you can just write whatever your message is. And I love how those fireworks worked perfectly in there. They really came out just right. So here are our cards, our 2 alternate cards for today. Hank the Cow Dog. Was that a Gary Paulson one? I know he wrote a lot about dogs. He also wrote one where he lives up in Minnesota, and he wrote one, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, where he went out dog sledding. Maybe that's the one that was Dog Song, actually. Dog Song, that one was really good. Right. You're kindergarten, so you're going to read those ones. And for kindergarten, though, Eric Carle's really good for kindergarten. The cat and the cat Splat the Cat. I loved reading those. I read those a lot when I was substituting, and so I have a number of those. Kitar liked those. I was never into that other black cat one. I can't remember what the name of that one is. I like Splat the Cat, but I didn't care for the other cat with the crazy wild hair, and I liked positive things. I liked everything to be really positive. Although Alexander and the Very Bad, No Good, Horrible Day, probably said that in the wrong order, is really a good book for anybody to realize, hey, you know what? Things can get better. It really can. All right, so let's go ahead and finish up here. Bikes and Blooms. Subscription ends June 10th. That is next Wednesday. So if you do not yet have your Paper Pumpkin subscription and you want this one, this is going to be really cute with the bikes and everything. I love it. I need to get my bike working so I can go riding this summer. Calypso Coral is the stamp pad, so I'm guessing we're going to probably be stamping these. This is just a guess. We might be stamping these flowers in there. And then it has the silver foil embellishments. That'll be super fun. Looks like this is silver too, which it should be, because on the bike, my rack was silver, right? Is your rack silver? So then we also have the Wild Bunch. I showed it to you yesterday. Let me grab. So this is this month's product of the month. When you place an order for $75 or more, you can get this one. So I would just get to 75 just to get this one, because this is so stinking cute. I'll be playing with it this weekend. And then we have this one. This is the May, I guess it's the wrong way, the May order. And no, I haven't played with it yet, and I keep kicking myself. So that's probably another thing I'm going to be playing with today or tomorrow, because I got my card club cards done, so now I can play with this. But I love this, and I've seen lots of great ideas. I need to just sit and watch something and cut all these out, because that'll make some great cards. And then this, of course, I would not cut out. I would just leave it whole. And these you can use for all kinds of things. So I need to work on that. I need to work on using these. And then I want to play with this one too. This one would look really cute. You could use this one with either of these as well. Super cute. Super, super cute. So then we have the Scenic Coast class. I mentioned it yesterday during my unboxing. If you don't, now don't panic. The class is June 18th. Currently, or the last time I checked, the paper is not available until June 22nd. And I know, I know you're frustrated. I don't know why they did it that way, unless it sold out as they were planning this and then they were already in it. Not sure. But you can watch the class make the cards with whatever product you do have. When the paper comes available, you order the paper, and then you can watch the class again and make the cards the way they did it. All right. You can already get the bundle, the stamp and die set. You can get that bundle so that you have it and you're ready to go, and you can just use different papers. We have other papers that would work together with this. This paper is the one that looks like this. All right. And I'm not showing this to make you sad. I'm just showing you the paper, and then you'll understand why it is currently unavailable, because it is so phenomenal. Yeah. And it's got that water look, that UV on it that makes it shine. So now you can understand why it is unavailable. And if you hadn't already gotten some for yourself, then don't panic. It will be back in stock. You can still do this class with Stampin' Up. They send you the link for the Facebook group. You join it, you watch. It's there for you because they'll do it. They'll make sure that the video is in there, and then you can watch it whenever you do get your paper. So don't panic about that. Go ahead and sign up for it. I think I have. If I haven't, I'm going to this week. I got to double check. I still have some that I haven't, that I signed up for, forgot I signed up for, and still need to go back and do. But that's the beauty of it. It's still there. They make sure it's there. They put the video in. They do it live, and then they make sure that they record it and put the video in. So it will always be available to you to do it whenever. Sharon, you bought that paper? Yeah, it was just too gorgeous to not. And I've decided to get the silly old bear as soon as it's available. I've got my little check mark in the box. You can do that for this paper if you don't have it. And I did for this set because, like, my son just asked me to make a wedding card for one of his friends from college. And it dawned on me that, oh my gosh, he's going to start asking me for wedding cards. And then a while after that, he's probably going to be asking me for baby cards. And Winnie the Pooh is forever, right? It's forever. I don't even know how old Winnie the Pooh is, but all my life I've known of Winnie the Pooh. So I thought, you know what, this one would be a good set to have for making baby cards, right? So I don't have any baby stamp sets because I haven't had very many people that I've known to send baby cards to. But now that Kitar's asking me for wedding cards, I thought, oh, I should get the Winnie the Pooh because it's forever. So I'm going to make sure I have enough to be able to make cards for as long as I need to, because it'll probably just always be Winnie the Pooh cards that the babies get. Because who doesn't love Winnie the Pooh, right? I think I have met someone who didn't love Winnie the Pooh. I just couldn't understand it. All right, so here, just wanted to point out, here is the top of that envelope that I cut. You could, it's almost the right size. You would have a little bit of white, but you could go ahead and glue that down, and that way it's not going to waste. So that's probably what I'm going to do, and I'm even going to leave this little strip up here. Oh, no, let's see if I do. It shows too much. Oh, no, that would look okay, actually. Let's see. That would actually... Now I think I'm going to cut it off and have this go all the way down to the edge and then trim that off. All right, so you can use that, or you can punch things out of it. Yeah. I'm not sure. You know what? I'm not going to do it yet, and we'll see what I come up with for next week's alternate because I just had some other ideas pop into my head as I was saying that. So I'm going to hold off. All right. Your borders are Eric. Oh, all my borders are Eric Carle. Yeah. I love Eric Carle. Well, he's German. And so one of my very first books was The Hungry Caterpillar, and I have it in German and in English. I have both of those. And so I read both of them to my son in English and German so that he would learn it. And oh yeah, you know, Sharon, we could go on and on about children's books. I have had to weed some of mine out with this move, before the move, and then since the move I weeded out a few more, but I have kept all my absolute favorites, or all the ones that were Kitar's favorites growing up, plus a few that maybe weren't his favorites, but I like that were maybe a little super girlish and he was just not into it. And because if I have a granddaughter, I need some girl books, right? So I have a lot of books by, like I have a book by Whoopi Goldberg. I have a book by Wayne Dyer. I have a book by Jamie Lee Curtis. I have a book by, I can't remember, the redhead freckle face lady who wrote that. So some actors and actresses and stuff, I have some books that they wrote. Fred Gwynne, the guy who played Mr. Monster on The Monsters when I was a kid. I have a book by him. It's called The King Who Reigned, and it's R-A-I-N-E-D, and it shows a king up above pouring down. I can't remember what that kind of parts of speech is called, but the whole book is like that. So instead of The King Who Reigned, R-E-I-G-N-E-D, it's using the other words, and I can't remember what those are called off the top of my head. So I have some books from different famous people that are children's books, and lots of famous people are starting to write books. I even have one from Her Royal Highness the Duchess of York. I have two Budgie the airplane books with a stuffed budgie that my mother brought me from England. So lots of books. We could go on and on about children's books. I love children's books. So I wish you a wonderful rest of your Friday. I wish you a fantastic weekend, and I will see you back here at the latest on Tuesday for our Kit Together Tuesday. And we're going to do that new kit that I showed you in the unboxing yesterday with the 2 ink pads and no stamps. What? I know. 2 ink pads, no stamps. Let's see, but there's daubers. So we're going to do some daubing. Let's see what that's all about. I'm excited. All right, everybody, have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend. I will see you back here on Tuesday. Bye-bye.